Psalm 23 verse 1 says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack." In other translation, it says, "I lack nothing." Now, this particular verse is the book of Psalm chapter 23 verse 1, which you know is what is in the Old Covenant. Good day, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Ukwa. I'm here to correct misinterpreted texts and topics. And today's text is going to be from the book of Psalm chapter 23 verse 1, which I said earlier that it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack." In another translation, it also says what? "I lack nothing." Now, this well-loved verse is so declaration of God's provision, but what does it really mean? This verse is often cited day after day in, day out. But what does it really mean? Now let's look. But there are a lot of misinterpretation concerning this very verse. And let's know what this interpretation has so that we can be able to correct them into the right way. Now, some interpret it as a promise that God will provide everything they want. So interpret it like that God will provide everything you want, whatever your heart desire. God is a genie. You're not a genie that makes wishes. I will provide everything you want. But that's not it. Leading to an expectation of material prosperity. Yes, a lot of people, that's what they want. Material prosperity. So this is what they think about. Now, what this particular verse is talking about? Let's look at the right context of this particular verse. The background of this particular verse. David is expressing his confidence in God's care. Remember, it's David that wrote the book of Psalms. Yeah. David also is a part of person that wrote the book of Psalms. So the expressing his confidence in God's care. A shepherd's role was to provide, protect, and guide. We all know a shepherd's role, to protect and guide. And David affirms that, yes, he affirms that with God as his shepherd, he affirms that God is his shepherd. He lacks nothing essential. Yes, he affirms and believes and doing by the will of God, and he lacks nothing. So this is how this particular text is being explained. Now let's look at the correct interpretation to this particular verse. The verse speaks of God's will, God's provision in all things necessary for life. Yes, it speaks that in all things necessary for life, it speaks of God's provision to them. But it's as a result of what? God's will. God has his reasons in giving provisions, and he also gives us a way that we might be able to have the maturity to overcome them whenever trials and temptation may come our way. Both spiritually and material blessing, but not necessarily in abundance of material wealth. That's not what he's saying. This passage is not saying that, oh, you have everything, you have the whole world. That's not what he's saying. But spiritual blessings, material blessings, according to how he wants it to be for you. So that what? You use it judiciously according to what? Your capacity. And let's look at how to apply this particular verse. Trust that God, as your shepherd, will provide all that you need. You trust that God will provide all and everything that you need for your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. You should trust in God that He provide all these things, both the spiritual, physical, emotional side, mental side, psychological side, that God will provide everything you need that's essential for you and I. Now, let's look at the action, the call to action for this. Let this verse remind you to rely on God's grace and God's care and provision, knowing He will supply your needs according to His perfect will. Yes, this verse is trying to tell us that God will supply His need according to what? His perfect will. So we should continue to rely on Him. We should not do by our power. By our power, we can do nothing. Only through us, Christ's strength, and Christ's will. If you have watched up this moment, I would like to say that you have done really well for yourself, for you to be able to stay up to this moment to understand this particular verse properly, and remain blessed. And I'll urge us what to like, to comment if you have questions, and also to share this gospel, and also to subscribe, so that we continue to what to move this gospel forward, so that all the world will believe and know the true truth, so that they will be saved. Thank you, and God bless.